Okay, frivolity is over. Good evening, everybody. Happy 2015 to all of my fellow county board members and folks in the audience. I'm calling the meeting to order, according to our crack clock there, exactly at 6:30, and thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. Roll call, please.
Alex. Anderson. Berkson. Carter. Cowart. Esri.
Here.
Harper. Harrison. Here. Hartke.
Here.
Jay. Kibler.
Here.
Maxwell.
Here.
McGuire. Michaels. Mitchell.
Here.
Quisenberry. Rosales.
Here.
Schrader. Schwartz. Weibel. And Petrie.
Here, and I do want for the record to let everybody know Mr. Schrader and Mr. Anderson are having, they have family commitments this evening, and they have let me know about that. Thank you. I will accept a motion on the approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Kibler. Second is Mr. Rosales. All those in favor of the,
Based on comments, we're going to move item B3 and B5.
I'm sorry, say that
You
again.
want to remove items B3 and B5 based on your comments?
My comments during caucus?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to remove those. Thank you for that correction on the agenda. Any other corrections on the agenda before we vote?
B3 and B5 under what heading?
8. Appointments. I requested that those be set aside for this evening because we will be having a new member coming on board, and I would like just a few degrees of freedom to integrate that person. That's the reason for that, all right? Thank you. All those in favor of the corrected agenda, please signify by voting yes. Yes. Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. We have no public participation this evening. Well, that's so sad because we have this wonderful new method that for those who will ever come before us to speak, they will know exactly how much time they have to do so. So that'll be quite helpful for all of us and for our crack staff that's sitting right over there. I would like Ms. Cowart to talk about the upcoming, on communications, to talk a bit about the upcoming Martin Luther King celebration, please. Thank you.
You're on.
Okay. On Friday, January 16th, at 4 p.m. at the Garden Inn, Hilton Hotel, I will be representing the county, Champaign County, in the celebration of Martin Luther King for 2015. And in 2016, Gerardo Rosales will be the representative for the county. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I just have 3 quick points of communication, and actually, they are suggestions from our crack staff from our 18 December meeting. The first one pertains to all of us, and that is remember to use our microphones so that they can hear us. Second of all, to speak clearly, because sometimes, especially those further away from the staff, they have trouble getting down exactly what we're saying. And the third one pertains to me, but to help them, and that is I'm going to try to get it into my pattern that I announce who makes the motion and who seconds the motion, because they told me after the meeting on the 18th of December, there was so much collaboration and vigorousness at that meeting that many of you were doing the same thing at the same time. And even with everybody taking notes over there, they couldn't come together on who had done which. So when I forget to do it, remind me until it gets into a definite pattern with me. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
I just remembered this, but originally we told you that the county board photo would be at the January county board meeting. We are now pushing it to February because you will not appoint your 22nd member until the January meeting. So now plan on being here for that photo in February. Thank you.
Are there any other communications this evening from other board members? All right, thank you very much. Ms. Bergson, would you like to take Justice and Social Services, please? There, that does it. Okay, you're set.
Okay, is there somebody here giving the reentry?
It was just a written report that was submitted.
Oh, okay.
It's not a monthly report, it's a quarterly
Yeah.
report.
Okay, then we have lots of reports. Anyone move to accept them and put them on file?
Do you want an omnibus?
Yeah?
All right.
So move to put them in omnibus and move them forward.
And second,
Okay,
Lorraine?
Lorraine and Mr. Rosales.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's no chair's report.
That was fast. Thank you very much. All right, next is Mr. Alex. Can you match that timing, Mr. Alex, or? Well, Mr. Mitchell gave us, 49 minutes for the meeting? 42. Oh, 42, we're down to 42, okay, and counting, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Alex.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First item on the finance agenda tonight is the monthly report from the treasurer. May I have a motion to accept the report and place it on file? Ms. Michaels and Mr. Mitchell. Take it away.
Thanks. Just two quick things. I just wanted to reiterate that this is year 7 of the nursing home tax anticipation warrants, and I want to let you know that they received their money on December the 23rd, $971,120. Second thing I wanted to tell you about is on December 31st, we made debt service payments for 9 different debt services. The total payment was $4,377,000. And leaving a balance of $36,695,000. And our next payment will be due July the 1st, and it'll be $671,000, basically interest on the July payments. That is part of my monthly report that you can find on my website. So I'd ask if there's any questions. If not, I think you've already accepted my report.
Questions for the treasurer? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will move on to the auditor's report. May I have a motion to accept the auditor's report and place it on file? Mr. Kibler, may I have a second? Ms. Harrison. Sir?
Thank you. The November report and the December reports are on our website. The December report, this afternoon while I was reviewing it, I noticed a heading needs to be changed because of our change in fiscal years. IT is going to make that correction tomorrow. There was no one there able to do that today when we realized it. So if you want to pass on that till next month, or if you want to just accept what will be on the website, but Andy Rhodes assures me that it will be corrected tomorrow morning.
I mentioned that in my memo, so I think people understand what the intent was. Any questions for the auditor? Ms. Michaels?
Just a quick question. I know we're kind of finishing up on 2014 and trying to get all of that in.
Sure.
You think all of that will be finished up by maybe mid-February, or is there a deadline that you've given everybody to
Yeah,
get their
we've given,
14s in?
we've given deadlines to everyone. I believe the last check writing that we will do on 2014 budget will be our second week of February check writing. So I think that's like around February 12th. I don't know the calendar off the top of my head.
Thank you. Any more questions for the auditor? Seeing none, thank you. All those in favor of accepting the report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll move on to the nursing home. May I have a motion to accept the nursing home monthly financial report and place it on file? Moved by Mr. Harkey, seconded by Mr. Quisenberry. Any discussion or questions about the nursing home monthly report? Would our new nursing home representatives,
That's Lorraine.
Ms. Court?
Microphone.
Okay. Well, we look forward to hearing from you in future, and I understand the new member of the board will be appointed later tonight in the policy section.
With your approval, yes.
So all those in favor of accepting the nursing home report, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. So we'll move on to budget amendments and transfers. First item is budget amendment 14-16, $60,344. Move money to correct line item to pay for health insurance expense from general corporate. May I have a motion to send this to the full board with a recommendation for approval? So moved. Moved by Mr. Kibler, seconded by Mr. Esri. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to 14-57, $279,145. Budget neutral for health and life insurance in the employee group insurance line. May I have a motion to send this to the full board? Ms. Cohort and Ms. Michaels. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Budget Amendment 14-58, $14,251 to cover a stormwater fee to the city of Urbana, which was moved from the fiscal 2013 budget. May I have a motion to send this to the full board? Mr. Esri, may I have a second? Mr. John Jay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Budget Amendment 14-59, $1,074, new spending for the state's attorney's office, expenses related to the Carl property tax case. May I have a motion to send this to the full board? Ms. Berkson, may I have a second? Mr. Esri, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Budget Amendment 14-60, $1,860 for the fiscal year 14 budget. Again, office expenses for the state's attorney's office. May I have a motion for approval? Mr. Gary Maxwell, second. Ms. Berkson, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. 14-61, $2,361 for the state's attorney's drug forfeiture budget. May I have a motion to send this to the full board? Moved by Mr. Kibler. Any second? Mr. Weibel. Yes, sir.
The last one you said was, there's been a mix-up here, what you've been reading. The last one you said was something from the state's attorney's office.
It's correct, 14-60, Fund 080, General Corporate, 041 State's Attorney.
Maybe I'm wrong, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Are you okay with this? I can see it.
There were two nearly identical amendments.
Okay.
Okay, we're on the drug forfeitures, 14-61, seconded by Mr. Esri. May I have a motion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. On to 14-62, Cooperative Extension Service, increased appropriations and revenue of $184. Pay real estate and mobile home back taxes due to an increase in payment of taxes. Mr. Quisenberry.
Which one were we?
Microphone.
Which one did we just vote on?
14-61.
Okay, what was,
14-59 and 14-60 are both the state's attorney's office.
did we get all three of these done? That's what my curious,
Yes.
because Mr. Weibel's question confused me that we were
No.
back on 60. Okay, thank you.
I apologize, Mr. Quisenberry.
No
I
problem.
didn't
Could
mean to do it.
Could I ask the secretary to confirm that we have had votes on all the motions? Okay, thank you. We will now vote on 14 dash, no, we already had a motion and a second on 61, right? And 61 we voted on?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to 14-62, $184 Cooperative Extension Service, paying real estate and mobile home back taxes due to an increase in payment of taxes. May I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Jay, seconded by Mr. Kibler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. 15, now we're into fiscal year 15. 15-5, this is $12,000 from the fund balance for the circuit court to increase compensation to contract attorneys in order to obtain qualified counsel and avoid costly alternative appointment of counsel on an hourly basis as described in the packet. Moved by Mr. Mitchell, seconded by Ms. Bergson. Discussion, questions, or comments? I think it's adequately explained in the packet, unless anybody has questions. Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Budget Amendment 15-0006, $5,200, increased appropriations, $4,250, and increased revenue to cover the portion of the local government shared expenses associated with 2 countywide residential electronics collections in 2015. Moved by Mr. Maxwell and seconded by Mr. Cohart. Questions? Sorry.
We caught him. It's okay. We got him.
They won't pay me for this. They'll take my pay away from this meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. On to item E. Actually, let's go to the addendum and take care of these budget amendments on the addendum. We've got budget amendment 15-7. This is $6,780 for the county clerk. This is money for workstations which were in last year's budget but did not arrive until fiscal year 2014. May I have a motion to send this to the full board with a recommendation for approval? Ms. Michaels and Mr. Jay. Questions, comments, or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And finally, for budget amendments, we have 15-8, $2,950 in additional spending for zoning and enforcement, cover the cost for engineering and appraisal services for a property demolition project. Moved by Mr. Esri, seconded by Mr. Harper. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And we'll move on to the item E, which is a request from the coroner for 1 full-time deputy coroner position. This is in the packet essentially only as a memo from the coroner. However, I would ask for a motion to recommend to the full board that we be recommend to direct county administrator to bring to the full board a amendment to the schedule of authorized positions and a budget amendment to cover the position. Moved by Ms. Cohart and seconded by Ms. Michaels. Is there any discussion on this? Any questions of the coroner, who is here? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And we will move on to the county administrator's general corporate fund budget projection and budget change report for 2014. Deb?
Okay, the budget projection report, the revenue projection is at your desk this evening. The projection remains fairly stable with where it's been the last several months. We anticipate receiving 98.5% of the budgeted revenue, which would bring revenue in at a shortfall of $530,000. We will not know these final numbers until your March meeting. Revenue will continue to be posted to the fiscal 14 budget in both January and February. The projection anticipates where we will end by the March meeting or by the end of February. The year-to-date shows where we are as of the end of December, which is right at $32,292,000. We project to end at $36,394,000. The expenditure report is similar. There will be probably more revenue posted in the next 2 months than expenditure. Expenditures, we tend to catch up within the first 30 days after the end of the fiscal year. We receive revenues, particularly state shared revenues, that are posted to the prior fiscal year for the full 60 days of closing out the fiscal year budget. Based on the current projections, which are again fairly stable with where they've been the last several months, we anticipate spending just about 98% of the total expenditure budget, underspending the current budget by about $806,000, which places the ending position for the fiscal 2014 budget projected at a deficit of $830,000. And again, I tell you this every month, but we knew this would be a deficit budget year because of the 13 months. And this deficit is actually less than what we anticipated when we adopted the budget. So this is, although a deficit, fairly good news. And then on the back page of that report are all the changes that you have made to the budget up through December 31st. And of course, this list will be longer next month because of additional changes that you made tonight.
Thank you, Deb. May I have a motion to accept the report and place it on file? Moved by Mr. Kibler, seconded by Mr. Harkey. Just to add to what Deb said, for any new board members or members of the public who may not be aware, we did change the fiscal year. It used to be December 1st to December 1st, and as of this year, it'll begin January 1st. As a result, last year's fiscal year was 13 months long because the county gets most of its revenue from property tax, which only occurs during the summer. We expected that to result in essentially 12 months of revenue for 13 months of expenses, and as a result, expected to be about $1.1 or $1.2 million in deficit. And as it turned out, we beat that by several $100,000. It looks like we will. So thank you very much to the members of this committee and to our county administrator and staff and elected officials who have helped keep us under budget for quite a few years in a row. So thank you very much. All those in favor of accepting the report, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. I have no chair's report. I have no other business. Items for consent are D1 through 11, and that concludes finance.
Close?
Thank you very much, Mr. Alex. Mr. Quisenberry. Mr. Mitchell, how many more minutes do we have on the clock now? Oh, we're good, okay. Carry.
So I
Very,
can take my time.
Yes, speak very slowly.
I'm a slow speaker tonight. Good evening. Good to see you all in this fine new year. Okay, starting out with policy, personnel, and appointments. Section A, we have the appointment of a county board member for District 8 to replace Scott Redenbaugh. Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much. I just want to give a little background before I put forward the name, and the background has to do with some issues that were brought to my attention, some that were posted online on the News Gazette, and I wanted to be sure I did my due diligence on answering any of those issues, and Ms. Busey helped pass those along to the state's attorney's office. I'm pleased to let everybody know that it is perfectly appropriate for me to put forward for your consideration what the Democratic Party has given me as the name of Sam Shore to take the vacancy that's in District 8. So I entertain a motion to... I'm making the motion. All right. I move that we accept the recommendation of the Democratic Party for Sam Shore to fill the vacancy in District 8. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, do you mind if I continue with the meeting? You make the nomination and then I ask for the vote and such.
Oh, I thought we were sharing like click and clack.
No, not like that, no. And usually after we have a second, we see if there's any discussion.
Second.
Yes, I'll ask for a roll call. Any discussion? Then let's have a roll call vote.
From our crack
Alex.
staff.
And Berkson. Cowart. Esri.
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hartke.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Kibler,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Michaels. Yes. Mitchell,
Yes.
Petrie,
Yes.
Rosales,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
and Quisenberry.
Yes. That was a unanimous vote, and Mr. Shore is in fact here tonight. Mr. Shore, would you like to introduce yourself? Congratulations. Yeah, come on up, come on up. Yeah, turn the microphone on if you're going to talk.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam Shore. I don't have a statement prepared, but I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you
Miss-
for being brief, too.
Mr.
Mr.
Shore,
Mitchell.
welcome aboard.
Next week.
Next week.
Are you guys going to do something dramatic?
No, we know what's going to happen at this point. All right, moving right along. Section B, our ongoing establishment of the new boards committees. Madam Chairman, your appointments for the Labor Committee.
Thank you very much. I move that Jim McGuire be appointed to the Labor Committee.
You did move the whole committee. The committee was not appointed.
Oh, the whole committee wasn't, I thought that was the only
we
one
did not
held in the
create a
bit.
committee.
I move that the whole committee be approved, and the committee members on labor are Josh Harkey as chair, Jim McGuire as vice chair, Shana Harrison, Chris Alex, and Stan Harper.
Second by Mr. Kibler. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all the.
I was going to do roll call, but you. Roll call,
Just-
please.
Okay, second for roll call. Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Bergson. Coert. Esri,
Yes.
Harper. Yes. Harrison. Yes. Hartke,
Yes.
Jay. Yes. Kibler,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
McGuire. Michaels. Mitchell,
Yes.
Petrie,
Yes, indeed.
Rosales,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
and Quisenberry.
Yes. That also passes unanimously. Next, we have the Litigation Committee. Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much. Again, this was a committee that I did not know the historic context of it, and so the following are the names that I'm putting forward for the Litigation Committee. Diane Mackles as chair, Mr. Weibel as vice chair, Chris Alex, and Max Mitchell, and I have an opening that I'm holding for the filling of the vacancy on the county board. Thank you very much.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kibler. Madam Chairman, the Litigation Committee, this is the one that we discussed earlier.
Sorry, folks,
Do you want to,
I'm daydreaming.
correct
Yeah,
your
Yeah, I do
list,
want to
please?
correct. That's what I had before. The membership is, according to the advice given to me, is the chair of policy, who is James Quisenberry, the chair of finance, who is Chris Alex, the chair of the Republican caucus, which is Mr. Jay. Diane Michaels is the other Republican on the committee, and then myself as chair of the county board. Sorry, folks.
Mr. Kibler, you want to resecond that?
I'll resecond that.
Thank you.
And I'll give a little bit of explanation. We had a discussion after last month's meeting with regard to the motivation of the creation of the litigation committee, and essentially, the creation of that committee put together the folks who were normally notified of pending litigation based on their roles, and that's how the committee was formed. And after some further discussion with Ms. Petrie and Ms. Busey, Ms. Petrie understood why it was the way it was. And if we created a whole new litigation committee, then probably all of those other individuals would need to be just hear about the litigation coming as well. Then we'd have 10 people aware of pending litigation, which is not necessarily where you want to be. So Deb, did you have something you want to say?
I just wanted to ask for a clarification of who's being appointed as chair of this committee.
Ms. Michaels is being appointed chair of this committee. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion on that committee? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously. Moving along, we're skipping 3 because we took it off. Number 4, appointment of Republican County Board member to the Nursing Home Board. Madam Chairman.
We took that off.
Nursing Home Board.
Oh, nursing home board, sorry.
He's not here, but you can still appoint him.
Yes, I can. Again, I'm appointing Jack Anderson to the Nursing Home Board. If there's a second, then let me explain the reason behind.
Second by Astrid. Ms. Bergson?
All right, on our 18 December meeting, there was a question about the appropriateness of my recommendation of Mr. Kibler to the Nursing Home Board. The request was put forward to the state's attorney's office. That office indicated there was no conflict of interest, no case law on that. However, Mr. Kibler chose not to go forward with a nomination to be on the Nursing Home Board, and Mr. Anderson has agreed to do this for us. Thank you.
All right, any discussion? I would point out, since I asked the question at the last meeting, it wasn't about the appropriateness, it was about the historic conflict of interest situation. So, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to Section C, some more appointments. First of all, item 1, you have in your hands, in your packet, a list of appointments expiring in 2015. Please read through those. Look at the ones that might be directly impacted by your district. Go out and beat the bushes and find people to apply for it, whatever you got to do. Same's true for the countywide ones as well. But we have a long list, and we need a lot of people to help make this county work. So if you have suggestions or no arms you can twist, go forth and do so. Moving on to item number 2, for the CU Mass Transit District, a term going from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2019. Madam Chairman.
Yes, I move for appointment Matthew Cho.
I have a second by Mr. Harkey. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously. Next, for the CU, or the Champaign County Mental Health Board, a term that runs from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2018. Madam Chairman. I believe there are 2 seats, so why don't you go ahead and appoint them both, unless somebody wants to split them up.
Okay, I move the appointment of Judy O'Connor and Ann Robin to the Mental Health Board.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Maxwell. Any discussion? Anybody object to considering these together? I'd be happy to split them if you want. All right. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That passes unanimously. Finally, in the appointment section, we have an appointment to the Community Action Board for a term of January 1st, 2015 to December 31st, 2017. Madam Chairman.
Yes, I move the appointment to the Community Action Board of William Manning.
Second by Mr. Alex. Discussion? Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That also passes unanimously. Thank you, Madam Chairman, for those appointments. Moving on to the county clerk's portion of the agenda, Section D. I would entertain a motion to accept the November 2014, December 2014, and the semi-annual report and place it on file.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kibler, second by Mr. Harper. Any discussion or questions? We do have the clerk here this evening. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, next we have an item with regard to the 2015 plan for polling places. This is a plan to consolidate polling places, that includes consolidation of polling places in the campus area to the Illini Union. Mr. Holden, would you like to come and give any comments on this? Do I have a motion first that we do this? Moved by Mr. Mitchell, seconded by Mr. McGuire.
Thank you. I don't know that I have substantive comments. This is similar to what we did 2 years ago, what you allowed us to do 2 years ago for the consolidated election in 2013. We've consulted with several of you, reached out to the university administration and several student leaders, and have received no objections to the plan. And so with your consent, we'd like to move forward with this for the April election.
Mr. Harkey.
Yeah, I remember last year we talked about Skelton Place. Will you be sending mailing or vote by mail to those folks there?
Yes, great question. When we first proposed this for 2013, several members of the board expressed concern for the residents of Skelton Place, which is non-student housing in a generally student area. And their normal polling place is in Skelton Place. And so going to the Illini Union may be more of an inconvenience for them. In 2013, we proposed to address that by sending mail to every registered voter we have at Skelton Place, encouraging them to vote by mail if going to the Union would be inconvenient. We will do so again for this election. That's a great question, and I appreciate you bringing it up.
Mr. Weibel.
A follow-up, Gordy. Do you know what the occupancy is of that Skelton Place? How many people are there?
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
And do you know like how many people vote?
Not off the top of my
All
head, I
right,
do not.
thank you.
I can tell you that the numbers in the primary are in single digits, and the numbers in the general are under 30. Because in that entire area, there's not much more than that.
Yeah, we will, consolidating these 10 precincts, these 9 polling places into one voting location for the April election will result in most likely several hundred voters voting early absentee on election day at the Illini Union. And the Illini Union as a voting location can easily handle 10 or 20 times that number.
All right, further questions? Mr. Alex?
What's the status of same-day registration for the upcoming elections?
The governor signed Senate Bill 172, I believe, on Saturday. Senate Bill 172, the vast majority of the provisions in it do not take effect until June 1st, or July 1st of 2015, so they will not be in effect for the April election. So we're in this strange period where the 2015 election will be conducted under rules much more similar to what 2013 had than what we had in 2014. So early voting, for example, will end on Saturday instead of ending on Sunday. Grace period will end on Saturday instead of extending through Election Day. So we're going to get through the 2015 election. We're going to wait and see if the legislature takes any further action because, of course, we have a full legislative session that runs from now through the end of May to see what sort of cleanup they'll do to the election code in Illinois and see what impacts they have. The first election where we anticipate Election Day registration being in force in the state of Illinois will be the March 2016 primary election. And we will have a lot of work to do to implement it and lots of updates for you. And of course, you know, if you have any concerns or questions about how we're going to implement that in our office, or if the public does, let us know and we'll answer questions and then hopefully address any concerns.
Yeah, thank you. And if you can let us know, there are elections countywide. Is that correct?
Correct. The April 7th, 2015 consolidated election is a countywide election. Every voter in Champaign County will have the opportunity to vote on offices up and down the ballot in terms of local jurisdictions as well as referenda. It's school boards, it's library districts, park districts, municipal elections. There are no township offices, but the vast majority of the other local offices are on the ballot in April.
And am I correct? I've heard that there's a primary in Urbana.
There is no primary. The primary
There's
is.
no primary.
There's no primary. The primary would have been February 24th. It would have been in the city of Champaign only had there been 5 candidates for mayor or more, or 13 candidates for city council or more.
Okay, thank you. I had heard conflicting information about that. I appreciate it.
Yep, my pleasure.
I got it backwards in our caucus. So there's no primary. Okay, could you hold out for a second, Gordy, as we vote if there's no further questions? Any others? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That motion passes unanimously. There's another item that did not get completed in time for it to make it for our agenda tonight with regard to a polling place. We're going to ask to suspend the rules at the full board meeting to consider it. Gordy, if you could give us a brief summary of what that's about.
Yes, I'm sorry it's not in your packet. The polling place, the longtime polling place for Urbana Precinct Number 3, the Carroll Community Center, is going out of business or ceasing operations, for lack of a better word. They notified us of that after the November election and encouraged us to find a replacement polling place. We contacted the Champaign County Fair Association to gauge the suitability and availability of Kessler Hall on the Champaign County Fairgrounds. The Champaign County Fairgrounds are actually located in Urbana 3. Urbana 3 is an oddly shaped precinct that includes areas just outside the incorporated city limits of the city of Urbana on the north side of the city of Urbana. So it's not particularly contiguous, it's not particularly compact, and so it's difficult to find a single location that will be convenient for the vast majority of voters in Urbana 3 because of the nature of how municipal annexations have gobbled the borders of Urbana Township up. So Kessler Hall is probably as convenient as any location that we have. It is obviously suitably large. It has plenty of parking. It's highly visible. It's handicap accessible. It will serve us well, and so we are going to bring to you a resolution at the full board meeting next week asking you to make permanent that polling place change for Urbana 3, changing it from the Carroll Community Center to Kessler Hall in the Champaign County Fairgrounds.
All right, thank you. So we'll see that next week. Mr. Alex?
Is the fair providing that at no cost?
Yes, and for normal polling places, the law limits us to paying no more than $25 rent. So even if they were going to charge us rent, it would hopefully not necessitate a budget amendment.
Every little bit helps. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Finance Chair. All right, thank you, Gordy. All right, moving on to Section E. First item is the Administrative Services November and December 2014 report. I'd take a motion to receive and place on file. So moved. Mr. Kibler moves.
Second.
Mr. Alex seconds. Any questions about the reports? Anything you wanted to share, Deb? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. The next item is an amendment to the 2015 County Board Calendar of Meetings, wherein we fix a meeting that had been scheduled for a high holiday in September. Can I have a motion? Mr. Esri moves. Ms. Cowart seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Yes. Another business? Okay. We're not quite there yet. Oh, we are there. Wow. Zooming right along. Okay, Deb, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this in communications and then I remembered. Next Wednesday, January 21st, we will have a training, parliamentary procedures training. It's focused for committee chairs, but it would certainly be beneficial for all county board members. It will start at 6:30 and it will be in the Dimmitt Meeting Room because the Developmental Disabilities Board meets in this room on that evening. But it's before we meet again. It'll be on the weekly calendar, but it will not specifically have an agenda because it's not a true meeting. It's a training opportunity for all county board members, and we just encourage you all to consider attending.
Don't conduct any business at that time.
Mr. Weibel.
Yes, Mr. Weibel.
Deb, how long will that meeting last?
That's what the presenter asked me, and I told him, probably 90 minutes would be
Okay.
the longest, 60 to 90 minutes.
All right. For the chair's report, those of you who were with the board last term will remember that we had a strategic planning subcommittee that had done some work in preparation for refreshing the county board's strategic plan. I would like to re-empanel that committee because it was an ad hoc committee. It ceased to exist at the end of the term of the board. So I'd like to get that group back on record as being a group to do some of the heavy lifting for our ongoing strategic planning that we're going to do hopefully in the first quarter of this year, get completed in the first quarter of this year. And that group with one change, I would chair that group, and the other members would be Patsy Petrie and Geraldo Rosales from the Democratic side, and Jeff Kibler and Stan Harper from the Republican side. Those are basically the same persons that were involved last time around, with the exception of Mr. Rosales taking Mr. Hartke's space on that because Mr. Hartke willingly gave it up, I will point out. I don't know if we need a motion for that. So I'm just going to appoint that group, and we're going to set a meeting. Yeah, woohoo. You must strategic plan. The next item on the agenda is with regard to our financial participation in 2015 in member organizations. Those were provided to you in the board packet, and a suggestion that I made in my notes, which some of you may not have been able to read because they didn't get out till this morning, was we have approximately $6,300 that had been earmarked for a Metro County group that I'll let Deb or Chris explain our status with them, which we don't believe we're going to spend. I had been lobbying for increasing our commitment to the Economic Development Corporation because I believe that they are reinvigorated with a new executive director and a new program to promote Champaign County as a location for businesses and people to relocate to live and work. And so I have made the suggestion that we move $5,000 of that Metro County's appropriation to the Economic Development Corporation to raise it up to $10,000. And that's not just something I suggested on a whim. The EDC is reviewing its participation tiers, and in the process of looking at that, I noticed that Champaign County was not contributing to the level of some of the smaller municipalities that were chipping into it. And at this time, because I think the EDC is moving forward and looking positive, I thought we should be at least as much partners in this as some of the smaller villages in the county. So I would entertain discussion with regard to that suggestion. I don't know if we can actually make that change at this point through a policy discussion or motion, because eventually it has to come to a budget change, right? Nope.
No, this money is already in the county board budget, which is why it's here for a policy discussion. And however the county board decides to spend this money will become the directive for how it is then spent.
Mr. Weibel.
I support the move as you've outlined. I think for a long time we've basically underfunded our contribution to the EDC.
Thank you. Mr. Alex?
I'm just going to add about the Metro Counties issue. I'd asked Deb to hold some money in this fiscal year's budget for potentially joining this Metro Counties organization. This is an organization that we felt, as of last year, could offer the county potentially some significant benefits as far as providing information on comparable counties and provide some lobbying muscle in Springfield on county issues. In the intervening probably 9 months since we first started talking about this group, they've lost a number of key members, and as a result, both their influence is going down and the cost of membership per county would be going up. So it was pretty clear that that is probably not something we're going to get a lot of benefit from. So I appreciate Deb's entertaining the, entertaining the option, but it looks like at this point that's not going to happen. So I think this is a perfectly reasonable expenditure of that money.
All right, Mr. Weibel, was your statement a motion that we could discuss and act upon, vote on?
I move that we transfer $5,000 from the Metro line item into the EDC fund.
Seconded by Mr. Mitchell. Further discussion, Ms. Petrie?
Since Mr. Schrader isn't here this evening, and he just commented to me this morning that he feels the EDC is going in a very exciting new direction, and I feel comfortable saying this is probably what he would be saying if he were attending this evening. But of course, Mr. Quisenberry and Mr. Schrader are the two liaisons from the board to the EDC, so there's a little bit of skew bias here.
Yes, in the interest of full disclosure.
Yes.
That's where we go sit every month. Mr. Harper?
Yeah, I just would like to concur with Mr. Weibel. I think the more we can keep our county out, and I know the EDC, through people I've dealt with, has done a lot of good in the past, and I think you got to keep your name out there and try to attract what we can to this county, so I think it's a very good move. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. And then the next item is a little bit related to that. If you were keeping score, you'll realize that we also have $1,300 left over in that Metro Counties line, which it has been suggested that we move that over to the county board training and professional development budget. And that is with the intent of potentially sending several members of the board to the national conference, NACO, this year. Mr. Alex?
So moved.
Ms. Cowart seconds. And that's just moving the $1,300 to the professional development budget. All right. Further discussion about that, Ms. Petrie?
Just a reminder, I mentioned it at our caucus, but for everybody, a reminder that that budget line is getting the money that is not being used to provide me for a phone. So there is a bit of a leg up already in that budget line.
Thank you for your sacrifice, Ms. Petrie.
It is.
All right. So any other questions about that suggestion, that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. I will add on that we at the policy agenda planning meeting, we had a discussion about if we are going to send several county board members to that conference this year, figuring out what the process would be to determine who those county board members would be. The suggestion I made at that time was that I could understand the chair attending such a conference, but I would put it on the caucuses to identify someone from the Democratic caucus and somebody from the Republican caucus who is both interested, willing, and able to travel to Charlotte, North Carolina in, when is it?
May or June, which is in July.
July.
10th through the 13th.
It'll be warm,
Warm.
very warm. I don't know if that's something that we want to legislate tonight, but
The sooner.
Deb?
Couple things about that. The sooner you decide how you, basically you now have $4,700 in the conference and training line. The estimate, as you see in your agenda packet, for attending the NACO conference is $1,675. That's an estimate. Some of it's accurate, like the registration fee. With $4,700, if you're going to send 3 board members, I would suggest you cap it at $15.75 to be reimbursed to each member who attends. That will spend your entire budget. And then the member will know that they'll be responsible for any additional expenses on top of that. And registration is open now. Sometimes the sooner you buy airfare, so I don't know how long you want to wait, but in terms of scheduling and everything, I think the sooner the board understands what the parameters are, the easier it will be.
Does anybody have thoughts about about a way to determine if we're going to send 3 folks and how we would send them? Did that sound like a reasonable approach? I heard Max, yep, let the caucus decide. I appreciate, I like that methodology because then I don't have to figure out a way to do it. We don't have to have a competition here. Anybody have a concern about that?
I guess my only concern is on the estimate side. I do think, from an airfare perspective, unless you want them flying out of Chicago, airfare for 441 is probably not going to happen. It's going to be higher than that. And so now we're talking about mileage expense. So from an estimate point of view, I'm wondering if 1675 will be enough, and if that's something to consider. If someone's going to go over that amount, if they're on the hook for an additional $200, $300, $400, is that something that needs to weigh on their mind as well? So
That was an actual airfare estimate from Champaign to Charlotte. Or
Oh,
was it
that's good.
Charlotte? Yeah, from Champaign to Charlotte. So that was taken into consideration. It
Okay.
was done a couple months ago, but that was definitely
for
done.
the date range in
Right,
question?
and
Okay.
certainly administrative services, we will work with the board members who are going to determine, to help you determine what is the best way for you to get there and the most cost-effective way to get there. But I do think we have to cap it at what's budgeted per member to attend.
Ms. Cowart?
Yeah, Deb, was that a group rate or what?
No, that did not even include the group code for the conference, which might have an impact on the airfare as well.
Mr. Rosales, did you have something?
Yes, would that be a total of 4,700 or 6,000 with that additional 1,300 that comes in from the membership organizations fund?
The original budget was $2,000. We added $1,300 from Metro counties and $1,400 from the county board share savings for a total of $4,700.
I see. Thank you.
And I'm not sure we need to take an action on this if there's there's an understanding on the board that that's how we're going to proceed at this point. All right. So that is all of the things on policy I have for consent agenda. A1, B1, 2, and 4, and we're going to check and see if 1 and 2 need to actually be on the full board meeting. C2, 3, and 4, D4, E2, and G. Nothing from G? Great.
Oh, the strategic, no, nothing from G.
Okay, nothing from G. So that's it.
Yeah, isn't it everything that was unanimous?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Quisenberry. Board members, is there any other business that you would like to bring forward now? No? Mr. Mitchell, did we make it in time? 18 minutes over. Oh, 18. Well, then, Mr. Mitchell, I would entertain a... Yeah, I know. Mr. Mitchell, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah. Second from Mr. Kibler. All in favor of our adjourning? Anyone against? Want to stay overnight? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Very efficient.